ship is waiting, all systems are go. Are you sure? Control is not convinced, but the computer
coming home, Ashley.
Coming home.
Butch and Suni are coming home.
On their way.
This is a really relevant drop for today because it's a one-hit wonder from the 80s. Astronauts.
Bernie's been down a rabbit hole this morning.
Me and Herbie Hancock, man. All right, good morning. It's morning somewhere, everybody. That's Peter Schilling, Major Tom, Coming Home. I'm going to guess that's from 1983-ish?
It is, yes. Major Tom, a new wave song by German musician Peter Schilling, released in 1983. Well done.
1983. So Butch and Suni are currently on a craft that has undocked from the ISS. They are in orbit. The expectation is that they are going to splash down off the coast of Florida at about 6 o'clock Eastern time, just before 6 o'clock Eastern time today. They left the ISS early, so they're coming home, actually.
They're on their way. Apparently, they were sent home a little bit early because of potential inclement weather later this week. So they are currently somewhere between the ISS and Earth. They're expected to splash down off the coast of Florida. The real surprise is, of course, is going to be they're going to be met like right there. They're going to swim up to the beach, as astronauts do after they land.
Always, that's how they get back, swimming.
They're going to swim right up to the beach, and then ICE is going to be there like, yo, hey, stop, wait there.
ICE in Florida?
Do you have your documents?
Yeah, congratulations to the state of Florida. You got the astronauts from the ISS, and you got Andrew Tate all in the same month.
It's been a month.
Yeah, congratulations. It's sugar and spice all in 1 month, so congratulations.
Look, it's really exciting that they're on their way home.
Dude, they're coming home.
They're going to be back.
Them and their gloriously smooth baby feet. They gotta hit that OnlyFans pretty hard. They've been gone a while too. They're probably like coming back. They got all that overtime money.
The thing is, they're going to be hit by all the inflation. They're going to have to start their OnlyFans just to pay for their grocery bill.
They're gonna think it's like Planet of the Apes because they're gonna come back and like. Eggs are $10.
What on? Here's what we need to do.
Happen?
Okay, you guys. Here's what we need to do. We need to put in. This is when we all need to band together. Okay. We need to clean up. We get Earth cleaned up. Put all the like dirty laundry like back in like some bathroom that guests never see. Whatever. We need to that when they get home. It needs to look nice. Okay, ship shape. Get everything tidied up. Get everything like. Good, looking good, okay?
I don't think we can do that with the world at this point.
Everyone needs.
There's not enough closets, Ashley.
Everyone needs to pitch in
to sweep our bullshit into.
Just sweep it just out of the edges of vision, then, right? Just somewhere they can't see it. Put it in the garage, okay? Put all of our problems in the garage, okay? When they get home, it needs to look good, so they're not disappointed in us.
They went up what? May, June, early June.
Yeah, it was June because the initial launch was going to be end of May and scrubbed until early June.
So, and they're coming back. It was going to be 8 days, and now it's been whatever. Who can even do the math in this? Like 9 months or whatever.
What do I look like? A mathematician?
I'm trying to think of what has changed since they went up. I know they can see it, but I'm just curious. Like if they came back and they had no contact, like they would have completely missed the rise and fall of the Haktua girl. Completely, right?
Yeah, when was that?
That would have been probably July or August that she did that interview. What a crazy speed run through modern celebrity she went through.
She did every step really, really quickly. Like she went through the entire program and is now, I don't know, off the face of the earth. No one's heard from her since she decided to go to sleep or something. And then that's it.
Well, it's funny too, because when you have to explain it to somebody, if you're not in the culture at the moment, then it makes no sense to you at all because you work backwards from it. Well, this girl, she was really popular and she just became an overnight sensation, but she made a cryptocurrency coin and rug pulled a bunch of people. And you know what that was, by the way, Ashley, the total on that now?
What
they're calling it? $500 million.
What?
$500 million, which I don't think the Haktua girl has any clue. I've been following cryptocurrency for a long time. I'll be honest, I don't know how to start a coin. Like, that's not a thing you just like hit like plus next to your account and go like add new type of coin.
Make coin.
There's a nuance there that I don't think she was in on completely.
Right. So someone clearly came to her and was like, "Hey, we can do this thing. It's a huge opportunity. It's going to be great." And she went, "I don't know, fuck yeah, cool, I guess." And then they put her name on it. What was the Hawk coin? What was it? I don't even remember the name of the coin.
I think it was called the Hawk coin or Tua coin or whatever. Somebody pointed out though, like you did years ago, you came up with a name for Bitcoin that I thought was amazing, and I don't know why we didn't call it that? Or you came up with a name
No,
for
the Satoshis. See, I didn't know they were called Satoshis, and you wanted to know what I would name a fraction of a Bitcoin, and I said I'd call it a credit.
A credit?
Because that's what all sci-fi futuristic currency, we're not using dollars anymore. We're using credits. Right?
Yeah. It's like, this is 50 credits. Like 50 credits. And you're like, as a kid, you're like, is that a lot? I don't know if that's a lot. Sounds like a lot.
Depends. How many eggs can you buy for a credit?
But the Satoshi is like whatever it is. It's like, it's the digestible amount of Bitcoin, fraction of Bitcoin, so you can use it for transactions, so that you're not using like 0.000065 of a Bitcoin in order to buy a candy bar, assuming it ever gets to be used as a currency. But somebody pointed out in the comments that they missed such an obvious thing by not calling her cryptocurrency Spitcoin. It would have been.
I'm looking at this up, by the way, and it looks like you're right. Butch and Suni would have missed this entirely because the Haktua thing popped up on June 11th, 2024. So they would have just missed it.
Missed her entirely. How is that possible?
But they're gonna come back and they'll be like, you guys, Katy Perry did this concert in space. It was awesome. You should have seen the drive-by. I'm super excited to be back on Earth. I'm going to get everyone's favorite vehicle, the Tesla.
Right. They have overtime money, right? So they can afford that now. They're like, I've always, now that I've got this extra money in my pocket, I've always wanted to buy into this really progressive liberal brand like Tesla. They missed out on that completely. They're very like they land and they're like, I really want to see the new Blake Lively movie. Someone's gonna have to catch them up on everything. That'll be a lot of fun.
Like, how do you speed run that history? It's a lot. Right?
How ironic would it be if to get from Florida back to wherever they live? I'm assuming they don't live in Florida. Or if they're not going to be like, as they swim up on the shore, they'll have to fly them home. If they flew home on like a Boeing airplane that then crashed, that would be unfucking believable.
They're flying through the air, the door falls off.
They get sucked out. They would have been fine, but their smooth baby feet, they got no traction. They couldn't hold on and they were just sucked out. Well, congratulations. I'm so glad they're coming back. It must be so strange, and we talk about them as though they would like broke some kind of record. They didn't. There's been people who've been in microgravity and the ISS for over a year. There was the one guy who broke a record by going over a year up there.
Wasn't there? There was the guy as well who was part of a science experiment. Who's a twin, right? And they basically measured him versus his twin when he left versus when he got back. I'll see if I can find that.
Yeah, and see what the record is, too, for the longest time on the ISS. But, it still must be very strange to return back to Earth after, 9 months away and being in microgravity. I can't even imagine what that's like.
Well, Guinness World Records says the longest stay on the International Space Station is 354 days, 14 hours, and 56 minutes, achieved by Mark Vande Hei and Peter Dobrov. That was 2021.
Yeah, I seem to remember it was about that time they were talking about the guy who'd been up a year. Listen, if 354 days, call it a year. Why not? They can't really control when those rockets go up and down. It's not their fault,
Yeah, so twin astronauts, Scott and Mark Kelly, they were the first, monozygotic identical twins where both siblings were also astronauts.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Okay.
Scott spent a year in low Earth orbit aboard the ISS while Mark remained on Earth.
Well, that was interesting because you remember when Richard Garriott, famous from Hall of Fame inductee Ultima, he created that series. He bought his way up. He was one of the first private space travel people, or at least one of the first,
he did, didn't he?
Earliest and biggest, because he went all the way to the ISS. Not just like went up into orbit and came back down. Like he was on the goddamn ISS.
Right. Eat your heart out, Katy Perry.
No shit, right? And was Gayle King. Fucking pedestrians up there. And he also had first because he was the first son or child of an astronaut who had been up in space. So it was the first father and son who went to space. Richard
cool.
Garriott and his father, who apparently was an astronaut. So, yeah.
So we went down a bit of a rabbit hole this morning. And this is how we ended up having the what the Peter Schilling song for the opening is. We went down a rabbit hole of like iconic 80s music.
Oh yeah, because Herbie Hancock.
Because Herbie Hancock, legendary jazz musician, basically recently came out and blamed YouTube for why he hasn't had an album in 15 years.
Rocket
Here we
from
go.
what is this, 1980 Rocket? So this would have. This clearly sounds like a jazz song, right? We're totally gonna get every copyright strike in the world for this episode today. Guess what?
We're going for a record.
Can't get demonetized if you ain't got no monetized.
This was a strategy all along. This was a long play.
We do what we want. I think the 80s had some of the best one-hit wonders, man.
Well, we spent the last 30 minutes just listening to song after song after song that was a real, definitely the 80s rabbit hole. So I can see how Herbie Hancock has been distracted for 15 years.
Listen, we all have. I mean, I really do think.
True.
I think that's the problem with social media, is that whatever itch you're scratching in your brain to connect with people, you can do that on a microdose basis with social media all day.
Right, and you just get little interactions here and there, here and there, here and there, and get a little bit of connection, right?
Personally, I think, and I would discuss this with Monty a lot, is I think there's something to artistry and creation that's Rocket, by the way, by Herbie Hancock, where you just consume a lot of media and art, and then you kind of go through like a starvation process, and then you produce, right? You basically do your take on the world. And I know a lot of people are always worried about, we just talked about the other day about the, weight and gravitas of an original idea. There's no original ideas, really. It's really just your take on everything that we're all getting input from in the world, right?
Right. It's like, what's your treatment of the thing? It's related a little bit, I guess, to the idea that there's only 7 original stories. There's 7 types of stories, right? And everything beyond that is your take on an overall archetype. And I think those break down to like really broad stuff, like hero's journey and so on. But I found it absolutely fascinating. There was the Herbie Hancock did this interview, and he says, I fell into rabbit holes on YouTube, a lot of them, new music writing software, things about health, tech things. I get victimized by it, so to speak, but that's life. And so he's saying that's why he hasn't written so long, because if you have entertainment, you may not be quite as driven to create, right?
It's a really weird, honest answer to the question of why haven't you made anything for a while. It's like I've just been like goofing off and watching YouTube and stuff like that. But very relatable. I mean, that's a lot of people get distracted by, just having everything you want to see or hear or watch, one click away, one button away, essentially, and you have access to everything all the goddamn time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm looking at this here. This is the plots: Overcoming the Monster, Rags to Riches, The Quest, Voyage and Return, Comedy, Tragedy, Rebirth.
Don't forget 99 red Luff balloons coming at you from.
This is Burnie's radio show this morning.
Great. So many great one-hit wonders in the 80s.
The traffic from space is looking pretty good today. It looks like we're going to get a nice solid touchdown off the coast of Florida by 6 p.m.
It's 1983.
Avoid the balloons.
Your hairspray still has CFCs in them. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
We're creating a hole over Australia.
Nah, the eggs are only 10 cents.
Speaking of which, did you hear that the U.S. is like asking a bunch of countries for help with eggs now, and all the countries are saying no thanks?
No, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I think the U.S. asked Canada for help with eggs. They asked Denmark for help with eggs. All the countries that they're oddly enough trying to start fights with, because Denmark, Greenland is part of Denmark, right?
Yeah.
Now they're asking Germany for help with eggs, and everyone is saying, no, sort yourselves out.
You know what Greenland is so sparsely populated too? I mean, I get it because you have a country saying, we want this country, and not just that one, but like 3 now. We're up to Panama, Canada, and Greenland, all the stuff that the U.S. wants at the moment. It was interesting, though, because I got to read someone's take who is Danish about the opinions of Greenland by most Danes, and they were just like, every other day of the year, nobody gives a shit about Greenland here. Nobody cares about it. Like, there's like tropes and jokes. Like, we have to be careful culturally because people make fun of people from Greenland. Like, they're stupid and inbred and stuff like that. Typical rivalry stuff.
Of course.
But then suddenly somebody like Trump says something like, we would like Greenland, and everyone is suddenly like, it's the most important part.
Right, not our Greenland.
Yeah, of our global influence and things like that. I get it. When somebody else is like talking about basically taking away something from you. Of course, you're going to have a reaction to it.
Well, it's like sibling rivalry, right? When it's just you like make fun of each other and you
Right.
fight and you're happy to go to war and just like punch the ever living daylights out of each other. But someone else messes with that sibling, you circle the wagons.
Yeah, you get madder at people making fun of your friends than you get at them making fun of you, right? That's
Yeah.
how I am. Yeah, it's like you just riles up. Hair on the back of your neck
now,
stands up.
Now we're gonna fight, okay?
Right.
We're gonna fight.
Then you have to play your anthem from 1984. Twisted Sisters, We're Not Gonna Take It. We're not taking it.
Not gonna take it.
I knew I was officially getting old when I heard Muzak versions of this song and Quiet Riot's "My Mama, We're All Crazy Now." Muzak versions in an elevator.
Oh yeah, no, that's always a sign. Or a department store and you're listening to the music and suddenly your head starts like bopping a little bit and you're like getting down and then you realize that like, oh no, this is a like a music version of like the Black Parade.
Right, the Black Parade, right? I mean, one-hit wonders are amazing. In fact, in the article that the BBC published about Herbie Hancock, I read an interesting fact about what I consider to be the greatest one-hit wonder of all time. Let's throw this question out there. I'm going to throw it out to you, Ashley.
Greatest one-hit wonder of all time.
What is, boom, without a doubt, greatest one-hit wonder of all time?
Mbop.
Wow, Hanson's Mbop. Okay.
Mbop. Shibbity-bop. Mbop. Dibbity-bop. Mbop.
I had a Hanson.
Yeah.
I had a Hanson shirt for a long time. I
didn't.
wore that at the beginning of like the first 4 years of Rishi. I think I'm wearing it on one of the first podcasts, my Hanson t-shirt.
Really?
I was wearing it ironically. I thought it was hilarious to have a Hanson shirt.
Yeah, and then look at you. You just contributed to the culture, Bernie.
I was keeping it real. Like 7 years after Hanson was a big hit. I would say personally, me, and this is verifiably true. Greatest one-hit wonder of all time is D-Light's Groove is in the Heart.
Okay, I absolutely know Groove is in the Heart. I couldn't tell you who D-Light is or what any of their other music
That's
was.
why they're a one-hit wonder, because you know the
Absolutely.
song and you don't know the band, right? I think they were like a super band, too. They were like a bunch of club musicians from New York coming together. I learned from this article that the BBC published that in the UK, D-Light's Groove is in the Heart holds a special place in music history because it missed hitting *1 on the UK charts by 8 record sales.
What?
8.
Who did it lose to?
I think it was, I don't know. It's in the article if we can look it up.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. It was, I want to say it was like Journey or something like that. Maybe Steve Miller. Something. It would have been somebody who was big at the time, right?
Right.
But they missed hitting the *1 spot by 8 goddamn records.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I don't think it's albums. I think it's just those when people would buy 45 singles and things like that. So, yeah. So the question out to you, everybody in the comments, what is the greatest one-hit wonder of all time?
All right, so here we have D-Light's Groove is in the Heart sampled Herbie Hancock's track Bring Down the Birds in 1990. The single famously failed to make '1 in the UK charts by only 8 copies, beaten by the Steve Miller Band's The Joker.
That's what it was. Okay. I knew it was Steve Miller or somebody like that. Here we go. Greatest one-hit wonder of all time.
We're going to dance and have some
This is the
fun.
90s now. Might be like 90.
You can still be a one-hit wonder in the 90s.
No, I'm saying I was touting the 80s as having the greatest one-hit wonders. But in my opinion, the greatest one-hit wonder of all time came from the 90s. D-Light Grooves in the Heart.
The chills that you spill up my back keep me filled
Come on.
with satisfaction.
Come on.
Satisfaction
We're having a contest today to see which song copyright strikes us first.
Yeah, we'll find out. Doesn't matter. Butch and Suni are coming home. You can't harsh our.
Today is a day of celebration.
We're happy. You can't take it away from us.
I love, what I love too is Butch and Suni are going to be, they're going to land, they're going to go to the airport to get on their planes home or whatever, and they're going to be stuck in the TSA line next to like some dude who's getting patted down because he has a turtle in his trousers. Did you hear about this? Like some dude was trying to travel with a turtle.
That seems like a bad idea.
He just stuck it in his pants and was like, this should be fine. And TSA went, hey, what is that in your pants? And caught him with the turtle.
In general, people don't like when you take live animals between countries. They don't like that.
Well,
Especially if you go to an island country, even something as big as Australia, or something like New Zealand. UK, for some reason, it doesn't matter. But like even Hawaii, an island state, don't fuck around with islands. Don't bring in weird stuff. Don't bring in any food even. Just hold off on the snacks for one plane ride. And don't stick any turtles down your goddamn.
I mean, and it's not even like necessarily country based. Why are you trying to take a turtle on the plane with you?
Right. What are you achieving?
And also then why aren't you just like, I don't know, putting it in a carrier? Why the pants?
Why the pants?
Why the pants? It says this was a Pennsylvania man. He was going through security at a New Jersey airport, was found to have a live turtle concealed in his pants. According to the TSA, the turtle was detected Friday after a body scanner alarm went off. Can you imagine, though? Like those body scanners just goes, what is that?
Also, what do you say? You got to say, you got me. You can't go, oh, I forgot I had that. Right?
Right, like, oh, that's where I put him. When questioned further, the man reached into his pants and pulled out the turtle.
Out of context, that sentence is entirely different. It would still land him in court, but it would be an entirely different statement.
It was about 5 inches long, wrapped in a small blue towel.
Not bad, pal. 5-inch turtle.
He said it was a red ear slider turtle. A species is popular as a pet. Why? Why were you doing this?
How'd they measure the turtle? Was 5 inches flaccid, or was it
with its head out? With its head in?
Was it hard in the shell?
Was it warm?
We need real data here. Because that sounds big to me. Is that big to you? That sounds big to me. We're making fun, but we have revealed on this podcast that you traveled through international security with a sheet of, what was it? Valium?
Valium. I didn't know it was a controlled substance.
Maybe he didn't know the turtle was a controlled substance. He was trying to keep it warm or something like that.
You just got to keep it close to your body so it doesn't get cold and turtle.
Also, there's limits on things you can bring. Like, you can bring in 4 bottles of booze into the UK.
Sure.
Maybe he thought like one turtle.
One turtle's enough. Just like mark that down on your customs form.
Does it say there where he was traveling to?
It doesn't, but I mean, I have to assume that this was a domestic flight or it would have been probably a much bigger deal. But he was caught at TSA in any case. It's not like he was caught at customs smuggling in turtles. That kind of thing is going to get you deported to South America these days.
Well, all I'm saying is Butch and Suni, let's check the pants when they land. Because they might, who knows what they're bringing back. Do I assess...
Did you bring back any spectral horrors from the cosmos?
Right. They opened a dimensional rift. They brought back some of the doom aliens, which are only come to space for some reason.
Right. That's where I put it.
Do they quarantine astronauts from the ISS? My guess would be no, because it's essentially a closed environment all the way up. You got Earth atmosphere in the rocket. You've got Earth atmosphere in the ISS. That's where it came from. And then they're just coming back.
I mean, I suppose so. Although, you never know sort of like what is going to happen. Like we have had plenty of movies about, I don't know, space amoebas or, I don't know, tardigrades or something like that, like suddenly invading, right? Is that something you have to be careful of?
We were just talking about Will Poulter earlier this week and how sometimes you go back and you see a movie and you don't realize somebody who went on to become very famous was in that movie. You were just mentioning, what song was it that was in the Nicole Kidman Gus Van Sant movie?
We were playing these one-hit wonders for our sort of pre-radio, and one song came up that I was like, this is from the Nicole Kidman movie where she played a newscaster,
right?
And she got someone to kill, was it her husband, her boss? She got like some young dude to like kill someone for her.
And then you go back and watch that movie. I said, do you know who the kid is that she convinces to kill her husband? And you're like, no, it's Joaquin Phoenix. And I said, and his sidekick is even someone super famous now too.
Yeah, it was, hold on, I'm going to pull this back up. Casey Affleck.
Yeah,
wow.
Casey Affleck.
And they would have both been really young at the time.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
And that got me thinking about, did you ever see the movie Life?
No, I don't think I did.
It was a weird one because it was Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds, and I won't go into it.
Gyllenhaal.
And obviously there's the big players in that, and there's kind of a twist to them being in the movie, but it's also shocking because you go look at everyone else in the cast now, and they've all gone on to become incredibly famous. Like one of them is
This is Life 2017.
Read the cast list.
Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson, Ryan Reynolds, Hiroyuki Sanada.
And it's like I completely forgot that Rebecca Ferguson was the female lead in that movie when I went to watch it.
She's been in a lot of stuff recently. So she was in Dune. She's in Silo.
Silo, yep.
She's in Mission Impossible. She's like killing it.
I guess Mission Impossible was her breakout role, but I feel like, I don't know why, I don't think I thought of her as Rebecca Ferguson in Mission Impossible. You know?
Well, that was probably one of her early breakouts, and that's why, right? That's one of
Yeah.
the first probably big roles you saw her in.
Well, yeah, she's gone on to become an incredible leading actress in a lot of different stuff. So anyway, that was it. So if Ashley saying space amoebas piqued your interest, there's a space amoeba in life. And I was thinking about that because of the quarantine thing too.
I read a really interesting thing that just came up. Maybe it came up because people are interested in space right now, but space has a smell. It doesn't have a smell, but apparently it does have a smell. Astronauts have consistently reported a distinct smell, often described as metallic or sweet. Like space smells like metal.
Yeah, but it's only a few people that have experienced that.
Right, but it seems to be a fairly consistent description.
You're talking about someone who's been out in the vacuum of space with no protective gear on?
No, just like astronauts who have been in space after spacewalks. They just smell like an after smell or something
yeah. I guess
of
the clothing
metal.
would smell. Yeah.
Is like what you smell when you come back in.
That might be like the mucus and saliva in your mouth like boiling off when you're out in the vacuum of space. I would imagine the ISS smells awful. I would just imagine. Or it's NASA, maybe they have incredible scrubbers up there for odor in particular. We would go to this thing, and I would love for it to come back, but there's a lot of reasons why it can't. Ash and I would go on a regular basis to this 24-hour film festival where you would sit in a chair for 24 hours in a movie theater with a whole movie theater full of people, and they would watch movie after movie after movie for 24 hours straight.
And it would be a crazy mix, too, where it's a lot of like really old movies, classics, sort of like underrated indies, and then some director would come out and be like, oh, by the way, here's The Hobbit.
I was about to say, like some director like Peter Jackson would show up and go, here's the latest cut of the third Hobbit movie. It won't be ready. We saw like 300 before 300 was even done with visual effects and stuff like that. Just this film festival in particular, people would just show up to this small 24-hour film festival at the Alamo. But the wait staff there said when they came on in the morning, that theater, after people had been in there for 24 hours straight, they said, it's fucking awful.
Like absolutely foul. And the thing is, you don't realize it if you're there for the start, right? Because it's getting smelly. You're getting smelly. Everything's getting smellier, but you're all sort of doing it together and you're becoming acclimated as it happens.
We've heard of people in the subreddit too having almost every job in the world. Somebody has to have had this job. I've heard the same thing when they open like an oceanic flight, like something that goes intercontinental, and people have been on that flight for like 14 hours.
Right.
That when they open that door to that plane, they've got to step away because it's just a lot of humanity in a small space.
Right. And even though airplanes have amazing filtration and they're getting fresh air in, this was a big thing during COVID, is like how often is all of the air in an airplane replaced? And it's pretty frequent. But even so, you have that many people packed into this little cylinder for this period of time, and it gets quite smelly. You're right. The ISS has to smell pretty mental because it's been up for so many years with people on it at all times. And unlike airplanes, it's not getting fully replaced air every so many minutes. They've got what they got. They got canisters, right? They got what you're bringing.
And somebody's got a turtle in their pants or something like that too. Hey,
God damn it, why did you bring the turtle to the ISS? You know our policy on pets.
While we're talking about the subreddit, I want to call something out that's taking place on the subreddit right now. So yesterday we talked about the Netflix show or movie, I don't even know what it is.
Movie. Electric
State. And I made the comment, Ashley, am I required to go watch this movie because we have a podcast?
I mean, I think we have to. Here's the thing. It should be, according to the tomato meter, it may not be good, but according to the popcorn meter, we'll have a good time watching it, right? Like it may not make a lot of sense. It may not be highbrow, but it will be an entertaining, not exactly a waste of the 2 hours or whatever. Also, we don't have to go anywhere.
I'm trying to find yesterday's post, by the way. Sometimes we hit on a topic, I don't realize how popular it's going to be with the audience or how comment worthy it's going to be. Yesterday, the discussion about recipe sites, it just exploded conversation about it. There's so many posts about how to deal with recipe sites and what recipe sites people use and how mad they are about recipe sites. I had no idea that was going to be such a relevant conversation.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But in the episode thread for yesterday, Baldish, user Baldish said,
Oh, we're getting a personal call
very
out.
cynical comment said, you couldn't pay me to watch a Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown movie. And I've officially thrown out the gauntlet.
Baldish, listen up.
I've offered $5 if he'll watch, he or she will watch the Electric State. I will Venmo them $5. And I'm curious how far they will take me up. Like, what will it take to get Baldish to watch Electric State? He can hold out for more money, but I will give up at some point.
Are we going to put requirements on this? Is like a book report required?
He does. He has to report on it. He'd like to give his thoughts on it and prove that he watched the movie. So the offer right now, Baldish, is $5 to you if you'll watch Electric State. You say you can't be paid to watch this movie? Let's find out.
Why don't we pay Netflix for a month?
Let's find out. We'll figure this out. All right. Who do we have to thank for funding Baldish's Electric State journey, Ashley?
All right. We're going to say thank you to Kelsey Malone and to Jeff Ashton for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morning somewhere and making all this nonsense and our demonetized podcast possible.
All right, well, that does it for us today, March 18th, 2025. Welcome back, Butch and Suni, here to play you in. Come on, Eileen!